Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Thumb. I'm standing here in my soybean field, the edge of it where I interseeded some into some rye, because this was a rye field, and this was soybeans that I planted green into rye and crimped them down, then ended up spraying them. And these I basically just left alone. I did basically just left them alone, and then these 6 rows or whatever were combined. The rye was combined, I should say. But I just wanted to show you where we're at on these, and what I'm thinking is going to happen. The ones where I combined the rye, I think them are pretty well done. Whatever you see is what you're going to get, because there's a little bit, you can kind of see spots where after they were cut off or nipped off, yeah, they're still growing a little bit and they might flower a little bit, but I think that was the end of it. And I actually told the combine guy, I said, just do a few different heights, and I said, this is a test, so just don't worry about, just act like they aren't even there, sort of, but just try to do a little bit of trying to save them, but you know, do a few different things. And that's what he did. He this is kind of the average spot where he you know, he did I don't know how I want to say it. Yeah, he tried a few different things, and this is kind of an average height of where he cut, I guess. But yeah, and then here's the tire tracks, which those are never going to do anything. But then you walk over here where he didn't, this was, I was glad he did this. I didn't even ask him to. But this is where he didn't cut anything at all. And these are actually taller than the part where I crimped them. And obviously taller than the part there where they were chopped off. And these are still flowering and going to produce more. They are a little spindly, but there's a lot of pods there. So that'll be interesting. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these off with my all crop, and I think what I'm gonna do is see if I can find like 3 totes. I'm gonna do those 6 rows, and then, or at least 2 of those rows, I should say. And there's 2 good rows, maybe 3 good rows that are in this rye. Probably 3, I guess. I'll do 3 of those, 3 of these, and then 3 of these, and just see what the difference will be. Yeah, like as far as you know, I guess what I was worried about is like, well, if you're driving over them, you're gonna just kill everything anyway. But okay, so yeah, that's true. I will. Every place the combine's gonna run over a row, it's gonna be dead. And then, but you can kind of see where I ran over rows when I crimped. So same difference either way. And then not only that, whether it was emergence or just died for whatever reason, there's a lot of open spots here. I'm guessing that was probably just from rolling and crimping it, because they were, I don't know what you would want to say, but they were about 6 inches tall when I crimped them. And so I'm sure that had something to do with it. Where the tractor tracks are, or actually my skid loader tracks, I kind of straddled the rows a little bit. You can see where, well, these, I guess that was probably from spraying, but you could see where I straddled the rows pretty decent with the skid loader. And it was a track skid loader, so I think that made a difference. But yeah, you could see, okay, here's one of the spots where he raised it up a little bit. Actually, I should go check that out. But still in where the rye's still growing, I think it's fine. So next year, what I'm going to try is, this had palisade on it, so, which my theory was that'll let a little more sunlight get into the growing soybeans, interseeded into the rye. But part of me wants to, next year I want to try some of each. Try some with palisade, some without, because then you could, wouldn't have to nip the tops of the soybeans off, and you know, they would look more like that after harvest, other than where you drove over them. So yeah, it'll be interesting, and I see profit in it. I really do. I mean, even if you run over, say you run over 30% of them, and you only get, say, 30-40 bushels of soybeans, that's the difference. I mean, the rye, if you get a pretty decent yield in the rye, it's going to be a pretty profitable crop. And I almost hate to post this because, you know, and then as far as spraying, I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, but it was all growing for cover crop seed anyway, but I did hold my boom out over this when the rye was still here. But what I have in mind is, if the soybeans aren't real vegetative when I when it's time, after it's harvested, or after the rye is harvested, then I'll hit it with something, whether it's Roundup or whatever. You know, I'm gonna have to do some checking in on that and see what's legal, what's not. But yeah, well, I just did see a little bit of stress. There's some, I don't know what the yellow means. I think that's low in potassium. But yeah. But anyway, I just wanted to point that out and show you what's going on here. I did a short video on it a while ago, if you want to look back on that and see what it looked like then, which would have been, yeah, about a week ago. Yeah, almost exactly a week ago, actually. But yeah, I'm very, very pleased at the results of this. And you can see and what I'm thinking about doing is, before I combine, I might even, or actually about leaf drop probably, I'll maybe just kind of cut a swath through here, like do 2 or 3 rows, maybe cut like a 2 foot by 2 foot piece, and just lay them out on the tailgate of the truck or something and show the difference, count pods, all that kind of stuff. But yeah, for the most part, everything's looking pretty good, and I'm kind of impressed with it. I might have to buy a combine that has that I can space the tires out for my 28-inch rows, but I think there's some profit here, and I might even be able to get away with, if I can get my weeds under control. Like, these were little history on the rye crop. This I actually planted into, it was wheat or oat stubble that I didn't spray or anything beforehand, so it'd be basically like planting rye into what you see here. Is kind of what I did. And so obviously it's going to be weedy, but if I do this in, say, what's already a clean field, I might not even have to spray the soybeans, which that's a plus too. So that's if you can get a crop of soybeans without having to spray anything, I think you could actually make some money on them. But your agronomist salesman doesn't want to hear that. Anyway, yeah, I hope you found this interesting, and I hope you subscribe and follow along, and I'll keep you posted on what's going on with this. And thanks for watching Thumb Country Stuff, and take her easy.